Hi everyone, very happy to have you all today here in this session where we want to introduce you to Zoho Vault, which is part of your Zoho One subscription. My name is Mauli. I have a longer name, Chandra Mauli Durai. You can call me Mauli. I'll be your presenter for today's session. I also have Christopher and Chaitanya along with me, who will be helping with me with the housekeeping and also with the Q&A. So at any point of time, you can always use the Q&A tab to ask your questions. Of course, we will also have a live Q&A towards the webinar, but we encourage you to post Q&A instantly to keep the session engaging. This session is being recorded and all the registrants will receive the recording. And you can always watch the webinar recording, which will be uploaded to Zoho One YouTube channel and also to the Zoho World YouTube channel. And we will also share all the help resources after the session is over via email. If you have any queries and if you want more assistance, you can always write to support@zoho1.com or at support@zohowall.com. That being said, without getting further delay, we can get started with today's session. This session is all about Zoho Vault password management. First, today's agenda will see how and why password management is very important today, followed by a quick introduction about Zoho Vault, the basic features, advanced features, and finally we will see a few integrations. We have 2 dozen integration, but we will cover the top 5 today. Finally, we will have an interactive Q&A. You can raise your hands, ask questions, yeah, much more than that. So let's get started. So what is the major pain points of having passwords and how to manage them? Based on the recent research from IBM and Verizon, it is found that an average individual uses more than 200 business account and also personal account. This is combination of both, which is very, very huge, right? And most of the cyber threats or the incidents are related to poor passwords or weak password. More than 80% of all these incidents are due to poor passwords or weak password. I could hear some noise. Christopher, all good? Okay. More than the cyber criminals and also the malicious insiders target small businesses that are not equipped with the right tools, right resources. And finally, the average cost of a data breach today is more than 5 million. So we just wanted to give you a holistic picture of why password management is important. Because we have a lot of password. The stat says we have in an average more than 200 password for every individual. And most of the security incidents are due to weak passwords and reuse password. And cyber criminals and malicious insiders are targeting businesses who don't have the right tools or the right resources to protect them. And the cost of a breach is very, very high, which is 5 million, which will take any business out of its industry. And what are all the challenges faced by businesses like yours? We have a lot of password like we saw in the stat, and each region has its own compliance. For example, the Europe has GDPR, the USA has CCPA, India has its own regulation, likewise for other regions, right? So all of them demand today to protect your business data and also your customer data. If you are going to miss any of this, the government is going to impose a huge fine on top of you. And finally, for IT admins, it is always a huge pain to onboard new users and offboard new users, provide them the right set of apps based on roles and responsibilities. And finally, the users start sharing password via chat, Slack, WhatsApp. Some companies even go ahead, print out the password, paste it on the laptop. We have even seen the incidents in the news channels. And there is another interesting fact that says more than 80% of the help desk requests are more around password change or forgetting passwords. And this all gives you a quick idea about why password management is essential, because we need to control the risk and we need to comply with all the regulatory bodies. As an IT admin, you should be able to know who is using which account from where, when, and all that. But you also want to have a smoother employee experience, a better environment for secure sharing and collaboration. Finally, the interface should also be user friendly. So this is what this session is all about today. I want to start this session with an interesting fact. Zoho One is a flagship offering that gives you access to more than 40 different Zoho applications. But the interesting fact is that only 10% of the Zoho One users are making use of the Zoho Vault application. If you are someone who is using Zoho One, but you are paying additionally to applications like LastPass or One Password, you can save a lot by migrating from those solutions. Or if you are using just spreadsheets or storing passwords in browsers, and again you can make use of Zoho Vault and make most out of your Zoho One subscription. That is pretty much about it. And what is Zoho Vault? Zoho Vault was launched as a cloud-based password manager in 2013. Today, the solution is more than a decade old. We have features targeted for personal use, teams, large enterprises, and secret management for developers. It is a simple interface that helps you to put all your password into a single repository, securely shared with your employees and team members based on roles and responsibilities. By design, it is secure and private. And on top of it, you also get a holistic picture of who used which account from where, when, and all that. We can see all of these one by one in the live demo today. So before we jump into the getting to the specific of Zoho Vault, you should be interested to know how secure is this system. I am going to give my password, right? So you would be interested to know how secure is Zoho Vault. Zoho Vault follows the principle of client-side encryption or host-proof hosting. When you sign up for Zoho Vault for this particular service, you would be asked to configure a master password with which we will encrypt your data. This master password is not stored anywhere in Zoho's data center, which is only known to you. So just ensure you remember this master password. So with this master password, we will encrypt all your data in the browser, extension, or the mobile device, whatever it be, and it is securely transmitted to the Zoho's data centers across the globe. It can be United States, it can be Europe, it can be Australia, based on where you live. We have data centers across the globe, and all these data centers are owned by Zoho. So on top of it, we also offer MFA and geolocation and IP restriction. By this design, we are able to offer a zero knowledge environment, which means even in the worst case, if Zoho is going to get breached, which is very hard to happen, let's take the worst case. If Zoho is going to get breached, your passwords are still secure. The attackers cannot decrypt all your data without your master password, and this master password is not stored anywhere in Zoho's data center. By this way, we offer 100% security and also privacy to all our users. So this is a quick glimpse of all our data centers across the globe. We are adding more and more data centers across the globe, but based on where you live, you will be added or automatically configured provision to the particular data center where you are located to. So for example, we have data centers in the Europe. If you are someone from the European Union, you will be automatically mapped to the European Union data center. Just go to your Zoho One console and see which data center your Zoho One setup belongs to. We also offer free migration service to move from one data center to other. So then Zoho Vault being a password manager, it is essential to be supporting all the platforms. We have browser extension for all the popular browsers starting from Chrome, Safari, Firefox, and whatnot. Zoho also offers its own browser, which is called ULA browser. So with ULA browser, we wanted to offer a very secure and private internet experience to the Zoho ecosystem of users, and also to anyone who would like to have a very privacy and productivity focused browser. So we can see a little bit about ULA also today. And Zoho Vault is an application on the surface level. It helps you to generate strong password, unique password for all the accounts. It will automatically helps you to fill the login credentials. It will also help you to prevent your information being your login credential being filled into phishing websites and a lot more. So Zoho Vault is available in the web as a SaaS service. and it is also available on the mobile device, browser extension. We also have desktop app for Mac, and we have a Windows application. The beta is available. I give a small break here, maybe for 10-15 seconds. You can scan the QR. If you don't have Zoho Vault's application, you can download the application directly by scanning the QR code, both for your mobile device and also for your desktop application. Great. I will also be sharing this deck with you. Maybe you can also go to the App Store, search for Zoho Vault, download the service, and you can start playing with the application. So being a password manager, we are very proud to share that we offer a large, more than 2 dozens of integration with both the Zoho ecosystem of apps and also with the third-party ecosystem. Within Zoho ecosystem, we tightly integrate with our mail, Zoho Mail, the ULA browser, Zoho Projects, Zoho People, and Zoho Click. Wherever we are able to offer a contextual integration, we have a contextual integration. Wherever we are able to add a widget to fetch password from the direct interface, we have such integrations in place. And if you are someone who is invested into Microsoft, Active Directory, Entra ID, or Okta, you can bridge your solution with Zoho Vault, import the users, user groups, and you can provision the right set of apps based on roles and responsibilities. If you are someone who is more on Google Workspace, Office 365, you can still do that. You can import the users, user groups, and your users can still use their Google Workspace login credentials to access Zoho Vault. So we also offer SSO. And when it comes to cloud backup, all your critical data can be synced automatically backed up to Zoho Drive, Dropbox, or Box. Apart from password-based login, Zoho Vault also offers you passwordless authentication, which is nothing but single sign-on. If you have enterprise cloud applications like DocuSign or Salesforce, we understand our customers use a combination of apps. Apart from Zoho, we also, to support them, we offer single sign-on for cloud application for third-party apps as well. And as a security application, we tightly integrate with CM apps, starting with the SolarWinds Longly, Microsoft Sentinel, Datadog, and a much more range of CM services. With you can send all your password related logs to your CM service, and you can get the holistic picture, security picture in your company, not just incidents related to just password. And if you have help desk system in your company like Zoho Desk or Manage Engine Service Desk Plus ServiceNow, you can integrate Zoho Vault with the help desk. Say for example, you receive a new ticket to your ticketing system, which would like to have the technician log into one customer account. You can tightly integrate, provision, or enable password access automatically by tightly integrating Zoho Vault with your help desk system. We will see the glimpse of all this integration today, but if you want a detailed walkthrough, write to support at Zoho One or support at Zoho Vault. We would be more than happy to have this integration in your environment. So demo. So instead of going through all the slides, maybe we can go to the live setup, and I'll be happy to show you the live setup of Zoho Wall. So this is the Zoho One interface. What you see on the screen is the Zoho One admin dashboard. You need to go to the applications tab, add Zoho Vault, and add it for the right set of users. Once this is done, your users will be able to get access to the Zoho Vault application. The enterprise edition of Zoho Vault is part of your Zoho One subscription. I repeat it or request it one again. So if you are having Zoho One and having a password manager like LastPass or OnePassword or storing it in a spreadsheet, please don't do that. You can migrate all your passwords to Zoho Vault. You can save big on your IT spending. Okay. So once you sign up for your Zoho Vault account, you would be asked to configure a master password. You can configure your master password. Once you configure that, just ensure you configure a master password, and you need to remember it every single time. Of course, we have passwordless login for the master password via Zoho One, not, but you need to remember it. So once you do all that and you end up into this particular screen, you will get a nice dashboard which gives you a glimpse of total number of passwords in your company, total number of apps in your company, the total password score, and if your passwords are part of any breaches, it also give you a picture of all that. So this is at the personal level for your passwords that is stored in your Zoho Vault account. But if you're an admin, you also get a nice team dashboard. You get the holistic picture of your company on the total number of password, total password score of your organization, total number of weak passwords, and you can ask your users to rotate this password so that the business confidential data is maintained. And you also get to see who are all the good users in your company who are very security conscious. We mark them as power users. And you can also see the non-compliant users who use weak password or older password, and you can go ahead and request these folks to change their password, start using Zoho Vault or use the password generator. And you need to first see who are all the non-compliant users in your organization and take the preventive measures before things get ugly. So this is pretty much about the dashboard. You need to go to the settings to get started first. As any company, you will already be having a lot of password either in a CSV format, or you will be storing your password in your browser, or you would be using other password vendors like LastPass or OnePassword or anyone. We have ready-made templates for all popular password managers, spreadsheets, browsers. You can export your passwords from there and you can import them into Zoho Vault and you can get started with the application in a few clicks. If you face any difficulties during this process, you can always contact the support. We will be happy to assist you to help you migrate from your existing setup. So once you do that, you would be able to see all your password, and the dashboard will give you a glimpse of the total number of passwords, total number of folders, SSO apps, what are the passwords that are part of breaches, and all that. You can take the preventive measures. And the next immediate step as an admin, what you can do is you can go ahead and create an user group. User group comes in handy when you onboard and offboard users. Say, for example, you are Zilker Corporation and you have 3 or 5 different departments in your company. You can create a department name like finance, HR, and marketing, and you can map the users to this user groups. Once this user group is created, you can share the password to the whole group instead of sharing by one users. This is the second step that you need to do once you start configuring your Zoho Vault account. And as an IT admin, I also advise you to create a strong password policy for your company. You need to go ahead and create a password policy for your company. By default, we offer 3 password policies: strong, medium, and less strict. But you can also go ahead and create your own password policies. You can specify the password length, minimum length, maximum length, whether it should have a letter, include a mixed case, how often you should rotate the passwords, and things like that. So once you create this policy, you can go back to the passwords tab. This is the place where you can manually add your passwords, or if you have imported your passwords, you will be able to see them here. So let's take this case. You are someone who is going to add passwords manually. By default, Zoho Vault supports more than 200 popular websites. And say, for example, if you are going to add password for Adobe, you just need to enter your username and password. The logo, the URL will be automatically fetched by the Zoho Vault application itself. If you are going to add a password which is not part of the supported list, you can select the password thing. You can select the category. So Zoho Vault is not just for about passwords. You can also store healthcare related information, credit cards, social security number, Windows account, Linux account, and all that. So you can select the category, give the name, folder, URL, and you can also add your notes here. And we have additional feeds for TOTP, by which you can use Zoho Vault's built-in TOTP, or you can integrate Zoho One Auth TOTP with Zoho Vault as well. So once you complete this process and once you are done with adding all your password, the next important step is to group these password, right? So you can group all your passwords into one folder, similar to how you group all your users to a user group. put all the marketing related password into one folder called the marketing folder and share it with everyone in the marketing team. By this way, you will be able to share passwords in bulk. So how you do that? So once you all add all your password, you can go ahead and click on the share button to share this particular password with an user or with the entire user group. Or if you are going to share this password with a consultant or a temporary worker, you can hit on the third parties. Here you need to enter their email ID, specify the duration until which they can access this password. And while you share password with an user or user group, there are 4 levels of access privileges. You can share password without revealing them in plain text. You can share password with view privilege, with modify privilege, and manage privilege. We strongly recommend you to provision the one-click login only. By this way, your end users will be able to log in the application without even knowing the actual password. I can show you my particular setup. I have my browser extension installed in this particular machine. Just a second. So this is the Zoho Vault browser extension. If I want to log into Twitter or X, I can just go here and I just need to click this auto login button and boom, I will be automatically logged into my Twitter account. It is as simple as that. You don't need to have manually entering all your password. So by this way, your end users can save a lot of time. So if you provision them one-click login only, they just need to have the browser extension to go ahead and in a single click, they can log into the required application. And you can also track from which device and from which location this user has accessed this particular website or the application. So additionally, for enterprises, especially for banking accounts or server accounts, we also have access control mechanism. This is nothing but an additional measure. Say, for example, I'm going to share a password with Christopher. Christopher should first request me access to that password along with the reason, and I can approve this request, and then Christopher can go ahead and start accessing this password. This can also be automated by integrating with your help desk like Zoho Desk, Manage Engine Service Desk Plus, or ServiceNow, or whatnot. And you can also automate these approvals on all weekdays or weekends. You can specify the time period. Let's take the example of a data center. You don't need to provision access to the password of a data center across all the period. You just need to give access only for 30 minutes. Once the job is done, just revoke access. You don't need to give access across the period. Just give access only when it is required. Revoke the access once the job is done. This is very, very essential in today's growing threat environment, right? So access control mechanism comes in handy for highly critical accounts. We strongly recommend you to go ahead and check this particular feature. Since you already have Zoho One, this is part of our enterprise subscription, which would be very useful for you to have tighter controls in your organization. So apart from password, you can see other categories on the left side corner. You can add the address category. You can store all your particular business address or personal address here, banking accounts, file store, health card information, credit cards, and whatnot. So another thing that I want to touch is when you add a password to your Zoho Vault account, by default, it is considered as a business password. But if you are going to add your personal Facebook password or Instagram password, you need to mark them as personal. Passwords that are marked as personal cannot be shared with others. Even administrators cannot access or manage the personal passwords of users. Even the business password, unless the user explicitly sharing with another user, administrator cannot access these passwords unless it is warranted, right? So that is the basic design of Zoho Vault. We have the password ownership principle in place. So even if someone is an admin, they cannot just go ahead and view the password of other users or other team members in the company. So that is pretty much about the dashboard and passwords. We also saw about the folders. Similar to how you share password, you can go ahead and you can share the entire folder with the particular user or with the user group. So like this, you can share the entire folder with the user or user group or with the third party, similar to how you share a password with an user or user group and third party. This comes in handy whenever you are onboarding or offboarding a new user. You don't need to go ahead and share the password manually. Just add this user to one particular user group or the department, and all the passwords of the department will be already available in this folder. Just provision them. When you are offboarding them, just revoke the access, and that is done. This is the way you can simplify the onboarding process and offboarding process in your company. Once this is done, the next one, important one, is the passwordless authentication mechanism that Zoho Vault offers you. Apart from password-based authentication for website, today the world is moving away from password. Microsoft is trying to kill password for 2 decades now, but passwords is not going anywhere. But still, some companies are having enterprise applications like Dropbox or Salesforce, which offers them single sign-on. Okay, if you have this application where you also have single sign-on, you can use Zoho Vault as an IDP, and these application can be service provider SP. You can create a SAML connection between these two apps. By this way, the trust is established. In a single click, without entering the additional password, your users can automatically log into Dropbox without entering manually passwords for your Dropbox accounts. So what I'm trying to say is Zoho Vault acts as a single console from where your users can get access to both password-based accounts and also passwordless accounts. So that is what we are trying to achieve with the apps tab. So for IT admins and also for users, the audit trials give you a holistic picture of who used which account, from where, when, and all that. The audit is not just limited to password. You get audit for your folders, user groups, others, and there is even a super audit. Just because someone is an admin, they cannot do any type of operations or delete an audit trail in Zoho Vault. We have super audit, which kind of records all the information that is carried out by administrators in the audit panel itself. And again, if you are someone who is into the audit or compliance side, you would be requiring password policy compliant reports or password assessment score report for your internal auditing or external auditing purpose. So we have a wide range of report section for user access, password access, third party sharing, password compliance, login activity, and a variety of reports are available. You can export them as a PDF and you can submit for your internal auditing purpose. So once that is done, you can go to the settings area and you can explore the other advanced features in your Zoho Vault setup. Initially, we saw about user group, and if you're an administrator, you can go ahead and enforce MFA for your Zoho Vault account. We strongly recommend you to enforce MFA for your Zoho Vault account and also for your Zoho account as well, because you are storing all your critical data in Zoho Vault. A single level of password-based authentication and master password is not essential. A biometric face ID or touch ID on top of it gives you more control, more security to your team and also to you as a business. So initially, we saw about importing password into the Zoho Vault application. But think about a case. Let's take the example. You want to move from the US data center to the EU data center, and you want to move from one setup to another setup. Or, okay, one fine day, you want to move from Zoho Vault to another application altogether. The export password option kind of helps you to export all your business password from Zoho Vault in any format, either in the Zoho Vault CSV format or a general CSV format. During the export, you can also select if you want to export all your personal password or business password. Let's take this example. You have a company and your employees are using Zoho Vault to manage both their personal and business password. One fine day, if your employee is going to leave your company, they can export their personal password from Zoho Vault and they can still sign up for the personal edition, free edition of Zoho Vault, and still they can manage their password. That is the type of use case that we are trying to address with export password. Password policy, we saw this first. This is very essential. uh, you need to go ahead and create a password policy for your organization, or you can use the existing default policies in your organization. So Zoho Vault also offers you a lot of categories. By default, we have address, bank account, and a wide range of categories. But if you want to go ahead and create your own custom category, we also have provision for it. So we also have some of the fields that can be marked as personal data. So if you are going to mark a field as personal data, these fields are going to be masked, and these fields cannot be exported as per the GDPR or CCPA or any type of compliance. This is very essential to comply with the regulatory bodies in your region. Password access request. We saw this example with sharing the password between Christopher and Mauly. This is nothing but basically a request release mechanism. If you are going to share a password of a bank or server or any critical account, you need to configure password access request. We recommend this feature. So every time if I want to access the banking account, I need to raise a request. The admin should approve it, and then I go ahead via one-click login. Once my job is done, the access to this account is terminated. This is how the system should work if you want tighter security, better compliance. So finally, we also have offline access. Being a password manager or we want to offer accessibility to your password at all times. You might be traveling, or you might be going to a place like a data center where there is no internet connection, or to a place where there is no internet at all. But if you want to still access your password for some reason, or if you want to open a document that you have stored in Zoho Vault, or if you want to fetch your credit card information which is within the Zoho Vault, this offline access, the offline CAPI, which is again protected with your master password, can come in handy. This is an encrypted HTML file. You need to enter your master password, which is stored locally, and you can access your password at any time, even without the internet connection. So for the administrators, we have half a dozen settings. Starting with the fine grained controls. So as an admin, you would be interested to restrict a lot of features. For example, you don't want your users to store personal passwords in Zoho Vault. You don't want your employees to export password from the system. We have a lot of options to restrict users from performing a certain activity. You can enforce it globally, or you can enforce it at the user level or the user group level. And you can also enable specific features for some users, and you can also disable some features for a particular list of users, right? So fine grained controls gives more control for the administrators to take care of their Zoho Vault setup. Configuration is basically where we have an option to list the list of password history. Say for example, you are adding the Facebook password and you are changing this password. The system will remember last 5 password, but you can configure until 25. For any reasons, if you want to retrieve your password which you have configured in 2022 or 2021, you can retrieve those passwords by configuring this particular one. And we also have a scheduler. We saw the reports, right? But manually going and exporting the report every single time is a pain for a large organization. So we have a scheduler function in place. You can configure your scheduler and you can export your report periodically, and it can be sent to all the admins or selected admins. You can also configure the time, whether you want this report to be password protected and things like that. So we are building automation and making the lives of internal auditors and compliance leaders easier. So data backup, during the integration image, we saw about data backup. So you can send all your encrypted Zoho Vault backup to Zoho Work Drive or Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, or any other application that you use. And Zoho Vault also send notifications to all the admins or selected users whenever a new password is added, whenever a new folder is added. If you are operating in a regulated industry, this is very essential, right? If someone is going to turn into a rogue user or a bad user and is going to go ahead and delete all the passwords in your company, these notifications can be very helpful. So we recommend you to configure at least a few notifications in your company so that you know what is happening in your setup. So since you have Zoho One, you get the enterprise edition of Zoho Vault. So subscription tab makes no sense to you. Uh, Rebranding is something you can replace the Zoho Vault logo with your company logo. You can add your company name, have a cool welcome message. You can customize the exporting report icon with the company logo instead of Zoho logo. So that is pretty much about the admin configuration. For the end user, we have a few personalization options. You can mark all your personal passwords as favorites, and you can view the favorite passwords on the top. And you can also enforce a password for audits and reports. And you can also access Zoho Vault in more than 1 dozen languages. And you can also configure inactivity timeout for both your web and browser extension, and you can also enforce this timeout for your entire setup itself. So as an individual, the as a personal user of Zoho Vault account, you can configure backup for your setup, and this is something called emergency access, which is something like a break glass account. Say, for example, Christopher is the only person in our company who has access to the banking account, and Christopher is not turning up for the day due to his health reason. So, how do I access this password? First, I need to add a few users in our setup as the trusted users. After 24 hours, these users can declare emergency and they can access passwords of all the users. For let's take a case like an employee is dead or no more, and if you want to still access this password for some reasons, for inheritance or anything, right? So emergency access kind of helps you to recover these password from that employee. Of course, we have transferring of ownership and controls in place, but emergency access is very much needed if you have or if you operate in a very critical scenario. So when you declare emergency, the system will also notify all the users, hey, emergency has been declared, and this particular user can view all the passwords. And after the emergency, the system will also notify you to rotate the password because you never know who accessed which password and when. So you only add users whom you trust as emergency contacts, or you just skip this part. But we recommend you to have at least one emergency contact for your setup. So in the worst case scenario, this user can still help you gain access to all the passwords of some of the employees. Security, when it comes to security, you can enforce IP restriction, you can blacklist few IP or whitelist few IP, and you can also configure geolocation restriction. uh, Basically this gives you a map. You can select a particular region, and from this region alone, say for example, if you are living only in India, you can select India, round it from here. And if someone is going to try accessing your Zoho Vault account from China or Russia, the system will not allow. So that is how the IP restriction or geolocation restriction can help you. So we also have privacy setting. Say for example, if you are going to delete a user, how long the system should have your data. You want to delete the data immediately or after 15 days or 30 days. You can configure them here. So you can also enable privacy settings for personal data as well. You can also you also have the option to restrict exports, masking the fields. So Zoho Vault, during the sign up process, we spoke about the master password, right? But you don't need to enter your master password every single time. If you have passkeys or Zoho One Auth application, which is the free authenticator from Zoho, which works with both Zoho apps and third-party apps, you don't need to enter your master password every single time. You just use your Face ID and you get access to your Zoho Vault account. By this way, you don't need to remember your master password to get access to all your accounts, but you can still securely access them. There is also an option to change the master password. For some reasons, you want to have a better master or a highly secure master password, you can change it. And read the instruction before you go ahead and change your master password. And we also have a lot of integrations with the Microsoft environment, starting with the Microsoft AD, Office 365, Entra. And when it comes to the help desk, you can connect your Zoho Vault password system with your help desk. Whenever a new ticket that needs a password or account access, you can connect the ticket ID with the password vaulting system, and the provision can be automated based on some criteria. So this is a deep area by itself. If you want a demo on this particular topic, write to support@zoho1.com or support@zohovault.com. We'll be happy to show this particular integration in detail. So CM integration is something again a deep area. I just give you an elevator pitch here. Zoho Vault will send all the password related logs to Microsoft Sentinel or Datadog or whatever be your CM system. By this way, you get the holistic picture of security in your company. So with the Zoho Vault audits and reports, you just get information related to the password related things, right? But when you have a CM system in place, you get information related to all the actions performed in your IT infrastructure. So you get to know what is happening in your IT infrastructure, protect it, and you can secure a IT environment. If you are someone who is into automation or a cool developer, you can also add create your own webhooks based on some notifications. You can go ahead and create this webhook, and you can trigger events as you wish. For if a password is added, you can trigger a webhook. When a password is deleted, you can trigger a webhook. If you have Zapier or any other system in place that use webhook to automate a lot of things. So that is pretty much about Zoho Vault application, but I will also want to show you the security controls that is available in the Zoho directory. You can go ahead to your Zoho One setup. Inside Zoho directory, there is a security panel. You can go ahead, create the password policy, enforce MFA, add IP restrictions as you wish. So that is pretty much about today's session today. I think we saw all this in the demo. Okay, integration is something that we want to walk you through quickly. So Zoho Vault and Zoho Mail. Say for example, if you want to view your passwords from another device where you don't have your Zoho Vault browser extension, this integration can help you. So you just need to go to your Zoho Mail, click on the extension icon, add the Zoho Vault widget. Once you add it, you need to enter your master password, and you can view or access all your password right from your inbox, right? So you don't need to install the extension on all your device. If you add it to your inbox, it comes handy and comes always with you. Zoho projects and Zoho Vault, you can go to the Zoho projects, settings, marketplace, add the extension of Zoho Vault to your projects. By this way, you will be able to add all the password related to a project to a folder and share this folder to everyone who is part of that project. So everyone who is part of the project can get access to all the account access, and via the audit trails you can know who access which account where and when. Zoho Desk, again it is very similar. All the Zoho marketplace, you for any application go to the marketplace, look for Zoho Vault, add the extension. Likewise, similar to the Zoho Vault for Zoho Mail, you will be able to access all the password related information right within your ticketing system itself. So if you have a customer portal for which you need to configure SSO, you can also use Zoho Vault to configure SSO for your customer portal. So Zoho OneDrive we saw during the demo. You can send all your data backup to Zoho OneDrive, which is a popular use case. And with Zoho One North, the free multi-factor authenticator application, you can use it for three use cases. You can enforce MFA for the Zoho.com. Every single time when you log in the Zoho One North, you need to use the Touch ID or Face ID to access your account. So instead of typing the master password, you can use the Zoho One North to log into your Zoho Vault application without manually typing the master password. Not just Zoho One North, you can also use any pass keys or UV keys to unlock your Zoho Vault account. And finally, if your company is having a lot of accounts which has TOTP in place or OTP on top of it, you can use Zoho One North and Zoho Vault together. When integrated, the system will not just automatically fill the login credentials, username and password. It will also automatically fill the TOTP using your Touch ID or Face ID via Zoho One North. Zoho Flow is our no-code automation builder. You can come up with your own workflow. I have just added a simple logic here. A new user is added. Zoho Vault will fetch the email address, share password, and notify it in Click or Slack. I am just giving a very basic automation flow here, but you can come up with any type of password related workflow as per your organization requirement. So we saw this in live with Zoho directory. You can configure policies, MFA, IP restriction, and much more. So Zoho as a company, today we have 4 different security applications, starting with our own browser, the ULA browser, which gives you a secure private access to the internet. Say, for example, I am presenting this session from the ULA browser. It gives me a nice privacy report. See, I'm able to see the total number of companies who are interested in my personal data. ULA protects my personal data from companies like Meta, Google, and keeps my data confidential. So you can go ahead and see the preferences, privacy and security. By default, it offers you ad blocking, phishing prevention, crypto mining protection. So by this way, ULA browser helps you to protect your data, and your data is always yours. Zoho is not going to monetize this. It also gives you single sign-on access to all your Zoho ecosystem. So if you are someone who is hearing about ULA for the first time, go ahead and download the browser. So since you already have Zoho One, make use of Zoho directory to manage your laptops and the applications in a company. And Zoho One Earth is an MFA that works with both Zoho apps and also for the third-party apps. Zoho Vault kind of helps you to manage all your business critical shared accounts. So if you have any questions, you can always write to support@zohovault.com. And if you are someone who is just getting started with the application, we recommend you to go ahead to our evaluators zone, where we have all the help articles, the videos, and all the resources that helps you to get started without any uh, delay. We also have a lot of videos which we have published in the YouTube channel. Can just go to Zoho Vault official YouTube channel and you can look for help resources. So with this, I think I have concluded my session. Now it's time to take a small break from my side and look for the questions that are posted. I think Christopher has already answered a lot of questions. So the first question is like, does Zoho Vault require signing into Zoho account before inputting the Vault master password? Yes, Zoho is part of Zoho single sign-on SSO. So you need to enter your Zoho account password and then Zoho Vault master password to access your Zoho Vault account. But if you have configured unlocking with Zoho One North, you don't need to manually enter your master password every single time, but you need to remember it. So the next question goes like this. I don't save credentials in the browser. Is it in ULA directly to save them sure, or always better to use Zoho Vault? A very good question. So this is what we are trying to address. Today, you can install the Zoho Vault browser extension. It will prompt you to save your password into Zoho Vault. But we are tightly integrating Zoho Vault with ULA browser, similar to Google and Google Chrome, right? Google Password Manager and Google Chrome. So this is going to be the default password manager in ULA very soon. But we recommend you to use Zoho Vault browser extension in your ULA browser now. So by this way, you get more control over your passwords. than storing it on your browser. Christopher, do you want to showcase any question that you would like to?
No, Molly, but there are, like a couple of questions, like that we have received recently. So maybe we can answer them.
Okay. Do you want to take over, Christopher, those questions?
Yeah, that's fine. So it's regarding the IP restriction, whether it is, limited to Zoho Vault, or it also, like apply to other Zoho applications with Zoho One. So basically the IP restriction and geolocation restriction we offer in Zoho Vault, it is limited to the Vault application alone. So it doesn't impact other Zoho services. So, and then does Zoho Vault have a desktop application for offline access? So currently we have a desktop application for Mac OS. It is available in App Store. For Windows, we are like working on it, but we are providing beta access to customers who are interested. So you can also reach out to support@zohowall.com. We will share the beta of our Windows application with you.
Thank you, Christopher. I think we are good today. There is another question around the browser. Today, the focus of ULA browser is more about having a secure and private access to the internet. On top of it, we also offer tighter integration within the Zoho ecosystem. So that is the major USP for ULA browser for you to use. And when you compare it with other browser out there in the market, the major pledge that Zoho can give you is your data is going to be yours. We are not going to monetize it in any ways. That is the core idea or the principle behind the ULA browser. So we are on the data privacy week. Uh, Good to talk about privacy. I think we are good today. I think, Christopher, we can close the session. All good.
All right, sure, Molly.
So thank you everyone for taking time and attending the webinar today. My sincere thanks to Christopher and also to Chaitanya who are part of the panel who helped me to run this session. Thank you everyone. We will meet again in another session. Thank you.